One of the things that has drawn me to chocolate is the fact that it is just so complex. It's really one of the most complex flavor substances known to man. It's got between 600 and 800 volatile compounds. That puts it off the chart. That's like higher than wine, cheese, beer, coffee, and those are all things that are very complex. Once we receive cocoa beans, the first step is to sort them. We're looking for properly fermented beans that have not germinated. We work with cocoa producers in Ecuador, Peru, Madagascar, Tanzania, Uganda, Mexico, Vietnam, India. This is the cornerstone to everything that we do.
So we're grinding up the cocoa nibs, which is getting the nibs that have already been roasted and winnowed and putting them in this molino, which was used to grind corn. The two stones pretty much just get caught in through here, grind them down, and then they get spat out over here and turned into cocoa liquor. The content of cocoa butter is all different in the beans, so this one is flowing pretty freely. This is from Tanzania, but other origins don't have as much cocoa butter in the bean, and they'll come out very sludgy. And I just like to reflect on that, and I think it's just so complex and crazy. I had a basic general idea of chocolate and how the general it's from a bean and then it gets turned into a bar, but I had no idea all of the other processes involved.
This machine is called a melanger. It's basically a stone grinder.
Just making sure that the texture is smooth, that it's not gritty, because that will eventually translate to the actual bar. You want to make sure that it melts nicely on your tongue and that it has a good mouthfeel.
It's also aerating and agitating the chocolate as it moves, which is helping to volatilize some of the organic compounds inside of it. It really just comes down to the bean and the formulation, but usually 3 to 4 days.
So just this?
Just this, yep, with little bits of maintenance from us. My interest in chocolate really just came out of my interest in food. I worked in restaurants for years and years, and then I moved from the restaurant industry into specialty grocery. So I was the grocery manager at Time Market, and when I started there, they had chocolate bars from Dandelion Chocolate. This was back in 2013. That was the first single origin bean-to-bar chocolate I ever tried, and it was revelatory. And when I tasted it, I just, it's like, whoa, wait a second. Chocolate is so much more complex than I ever thought it was. All chocolate is made from cocoa beans, so all chocolate is bean-to-bar chocolate. But really that phrase is being used to describe this movement of mostly small batch makers that have some sort of direct connection to the source of the cocoa. It's the phrase that our industry uses for this renaissance of new chocolate making. I really just wanted to understand the process more. I didn't intend on starting a company, but I just fell in love with the process.
One of my favorite bonbon flavors is the black pepper caramel with white chocolate rose petal ganache. I make just a traditional caramel, but then I add black pepper extract, and then I also add a little bit of finely ground black pepper so that it's caramelly, but a little bit spicy, but it's still balanced. I think I draw inspiration from my ethnic background too, because I'm half Korean and half German, which is kind of a weird combination. Before I worked here, I basically knew nothing about chocolate. I grew up in Germany. Pastry and baking there is just really traditional. So when I moved to the States, I wanted to learn how to make pastry myself. I started at the B line under Terry Lachance, and she taught me a lot. And then I was the head baker at 5 Points, and then here. instead of like building, you know, a multi-layered cake, you're kind of doing that all in one bite. Sometimes they'll like all come out at the same time. It's very rare and it's really exciting. Okay. Ah, perfect crack out.
Visual is always the first thing that attracts someone or like intrigues them at least. So this is our prickly pear caramel bonbon. There are 3 different colored cocoa butter colors. So there's the white splatter, which it's just Jackson Pollock, you know, you just stand there and you just kind of fling the cocoa butter on the mold and it does its own thing. After that, there is this like light shimmery purple that we just use our finger and we just swipe in the mold. So it gives it a little bit of depth and texture. And then behind that is the dark purple, which just then really helps the rest of it pop. These are some of the variety of bonbons that we have to offer. Typically it starts with a flavor. Adam and Athena think of like a fun flavor to do. And from there we just kind of think, well, what kind of colors, what kind of decor would make sense for that flavor? It took me a good amount of time to be able to get this kind of motion to work for me. I was really clumsy at first. I've been an artist most of my life. I went from painting and drawing into ceramics and just kind of stumbled into this. Using colored cocoa butter as a medium wasn't anything I had thought of, but once I started doing it, it was fun. Okay. So the chili mango is also 3 different colors, but this technique is all spraying. Originally we had like a green that just didn't quite seem like the right mango green, you know? And so we ordered a different one and then it just all came together. We really love how it turned out. And it's a delightful taste as well. You know, mango with like a hint of spice. I really love when art can become intimate with someone. So in my ceramics, like I love making mugs. They're very intimate objects. So it's not that far to go to the bonbons. Most people often are like, they're too pretty to eat. But then I'm like, but then you eat them and you realize they're just as tasty, so you do eat them.
Chitapin. So chitapin is a chili.
And whiskey.
The whiskey Delbach. Alrighty, my friend. And I can ring you up right at the register.
We view this as an opportunity to really like connect our food shed here in the Sonoran Desert to the chocolate movement. Things like mesquite pod, chiltepin peppers, blue corn. So we get to share those ingredients with the greater chocolate community. And then simultaneously we get to share bean to bar chocolate with Tucson.
Those are homemade marshmallows. You have to try one. Do you want to take a sample of our hot chocolate?
It's been pretty incredible to watch this grow. I'm really proud of everyone, and even, you know, including myself, to have got to this point.
And would you like those bonbons for here to go?
It's been a whole bunch of things. I mean, it's been really exhilarating and really stressful.
We've only been open for a little over a year, but then we just won 14 International Chocolate Awards, and I mean, it's kind of a big deal.
We feel really fortunate to be in this community, really fortunate to be in this location. We set out to offer a really high quality product, and I think really that's where we're focused.